You didn't lose them. They lost access to someone who would have done anything for them, and that's a loss they'll fake being fine about, but never recover from. So folks, listen to me. And believe it or not, when they don't call or message you, it's not peace, it's panic. It's not healing, it's hiding. They're not moving on. They're avoiding the reality of what they destroyed. That silence. It's not silence. It's a cover-up, a desperate, ego-fueled mask over a soul that knows damn well it threw away something rare, and while they're pretending not to care, faking peace and posting empty smiles. They are silently begging the universe to make you reach out first, just so they don't have to face the shame of what they've done. Before we go further, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me till the end, because I'm not just here to talk about their silence. I'm here to expose it, to decode it, to turn the pain you felt into the power they never thought you'd claim. Hey folks, imagine this. You hand someone a gift, not a cheap one, not something you picked up last minute. I'm talking about something you built, your energy, your time, your loyalty, your heart. You wrapped it all up in consistency and care, and they threw it in the trash, like it was garbage, and then had the audacity to walk away like they were the one who got hurt. That's what happens when you love someone who only knows how to take. They don't know what to do when someone shows up fully, so they run, they go quiet, they disappear. But hear me loud and clear, their silence is not power, it's panic dressed up like pride. Some of you are blaming yourselves right now, asking what you did wrong, wondering why they stopped calling, why they stopped caring. But let's break this lie once and for all. You didn't scare them off with your love. You scared them because your love was real, and real love demands truth. Real love forces people to take off their masks, and they couldn't handle that. They couldn't handle being seen. So instead of rising to meet your loyalty, they shrunk. They ran. They chose silence because speaking would have required honesty, and honesty would have exposed their emptiness. My friends, stop romanticizing their silence. It's not wisdom. It's not peace. It's cowardice. It's someone hiding behind a wall they built when they realized they weren't capable of matching what you brought. Let me tell you something no one else will. They knew your worth. They just never thought you'd walk away. They thought you'd wait. Text again. Apologize for being hurt. Stay available. But when you didn't, when your silence matched theirs, that's when the panic started. They don't reach out because every second of your silence reminds them of the truth. They threw away the one person who actually gave a damn. And that regret? It's not loud, it's quiet, it's subtle, but it's there. In every old message they reread, in every post they stalk from a fake account, in every moment of stillness where they remember your voice, your care, your presence. That silence you think means nothing. To them, it's a mirror. And every day they avoid reaching out. They're just avoiding the reflection of the trash they made out of something sacred. So today's not about missing them. It's about seeing them for who they really were. Not the version you hoped they'd become, not the fantasy you fell for, but the reality, someone who couldn't handle the weight of what you offered. Someone who didn't just lose you, they lost access to you, and they will never find that energy again, ever. Say this with me in the comments right now. I wasn't too much. I was just too real. Type it, lock it in, burn it into your identity. Let it be the fire under your self-worth. Because the truth is, when they went silent, they didn't win. They only delayed the breakdown that always comes when someone fakes being okay after letting go of gold. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me, because next we're breaking down exactly why they go silent and how that silence becomes the prison they built with their own hands. Number 1. Silence isn't absence, it's a strategy. They didn't forget you. They're hoping you forget your worth. Silence isn't always absence. Sometimes it's calculation, strategy, manipulation in disguise, and you, yes you, might still be romanticizing it, telling yourself they're just busy, just confused, just figuring things out. But here's the truth you've been avoiding like a storm you hope never hits. They're not calling because they think you'll break first. They're not texting because they believe you'll chase. They're not reaching out because your silence has never scared them. Until now. Let's rip the mask off this thing. Some people don't go silent because they moved on. They go silent because they think you haven't. And if they can keep you hoping, waiting, checking your phone, stalking their stories, reading old messages like they're sacred scrolls, they win. That's not love. That's control. And you're not stuck because they left. You're stuck because they trained you to equate silence with mystery, with maybe, with hope. But hope without clarity, that's manipulation with a bow on it. Hey folks, imagine this. You're standing outside a house where you once gave everything, your trust, your care, your loyalty. You watered the garden, fixed the roof, kept the lights on, and one day, without warning, they walk out. Leave you there with the work, the wreckage, and the memory of what you thought was real. Then they ghost you. No explanation, no goodbye, just silence. And you stand there, wondering what you did wrong, when the truth is, you didn't do anything wrong. You just stayed too long in a place that never valued what you brought. And now they're gone, quiet, distant, posting nonsense online like they're living their best life. But don't be fooled. That silence, it's not peace, it's a move, it's a pawn played on the chessboard of your emotions. And if you don't open your eyes, you'll become the emotional doormat they always expected you to be. The one who stays soft no matter how cold they get. The one who reaches out first. The one who forgives without receiving a single damn apology. Let me ask you something raw. How many times have you told yourself they'll reach out eventually? How many nights have you stared at your phone, thinking maybe, just maybe, they're thinking about you too? How many times have you replayed what you said, wondering if you pushed too hard, loved too loudly, gave too much? Let me break the lie for you right here. You weren't too much. They were just too damn weak to handle someone real. They thought you'd keep orbiting them like a satellite starved for attention. They thought you'd keep checking in, sending just thinking of you texts, liking their posts to remind them you're still there. But what they didn't see coming was this version of you. The one waking up, the one remembering, the one about to go nuclear with self-worth. You were never the problem, you were the power, but they had to reduce you to trash in their mind so they wouldn't have to face the truth, that they fumbled something sacred, that they threw away gold because they'd rather hold on to the glitter of temporary attention from people who don't even know them. Let me say this loud, silence isn't a message, it's a mirror, and if you're brave enough to look into it, you'll see the truth. You'll see how long you've been performing for someone who never clapped, giving loyalty to someone who didn't even show up. And you'll feel it, that rage, that ache, that guilt for lowering your worth just to keep someone who didn't even notice when you started to shrink. So let me scold you, my friend. How dare you forget your value just because someone else failed to see it? How dare you treat yourself like a backup option just because they put you on hold? You are not a vending machine of love, waiting for the right code to be punched in. You are not a doormat for their indecision. You are not trash to be recycled when they're done pretending to be healed. You are the storm they didn't prepare for, the calm they couldn't manipulate. The silence they thought meant weakness, but now realize is distance they'll never be able to close again. You might ask, but what if they really are busy? What if they just need time? Let me answer that with something you already know deep down. People make time for what they care about. period. You've sent paragraphs. They've sent emojis. You've given presents. They've given absence. You've begged in silence, and they've performed in public. That's not love. That's emotional exploitation. And if they're still quiet, it's not because they're too busy to respond. It's because they're hoping you stay silent long enough to make them feel powerful again. But this is where that ends. This is where your silence becomes sacred, not submissive. Where your distance becomes discipline, not desperation. Where you stop being the one who waits and start being the one they'll never forget. So right now, comment this below and make it your vow. Their silence is my strategy now. Write it, own it, show them, show yourself. Show the world around you that you're done being the one who breaks every time they pull away. You're done being the backup, the afterthought, the standby supply of emotional comfort. You were the prize, and now they've lost access to something they'll regret for the rest of their life. And stay with me, because in the next section we're diving deep into why they don't call and what really happens when your silence turns into the one thing their ego can't survive. Number 2. They don't call because they think you will. They didn't disappear by accident. They paused the story, expecting you to write the next chapter. They don't call because they think you will. That's the twisted truth. It's not silence, it's bait. It's not distance, it's a trap. They're not confused, they're calculating. Because in their mind, they still hold the power. They believe you're still the one overthinking, still the one scrolling, still the one replaying that last message, waiting for a sign. And the longer they don't call, the more they expect you to break first. That's what this is really about. Control through silence. It's not absence. It's manipulation disguised as space. You see, people like that don't just ghost you and move on. No, they ghost you strategically. They want to see how long it takes before you fold, before you cave, before you prove them right, that they still matter more to you than you ever mattered to them. They're not staying silent because they're healing. They're staying silent because they think you're still hooked, still emotionally addicted. And every second you spend wondering, should I reach out? You're feeding the very illusion they're depending on to keep you beneath them. Let's get real for a second. This isn't love. It's a psychological game, a dance of emotional control where they pull back, expecting you to leap forward. It's like dangling a carrot in front of a starving horse. They ghost, hoping you'll panic. They go cold, hoping you'll start chasing. And if you do, you just gave them the fuel to keep playing you. That's the addiction loop. That's how they keep you stuck. They disappear just enough to make you feel abandoned, then reappear just enough to make you stay hopeful. My friends, this is the part where you stop playing by their rules, because silence isn't just a game, it's a gamble. And if you've been chasing someone who's been banking on your weakness, it's time you flip the script. You want to know what really messes them up? When you don't call, when you don't text, when the silence they use to manipulate becomes the silence that haunts them, because they were counting on you to keep the cycle alive. They assumed you'd always be the one filling the gaps, explaining the pain, holding the story together while they played the mysterious ghost. But now, you don't owe them a damn thing. Let them sit in the silence they created. Let them realize that their greatest mistake wasn't going quiet. It was assuming you would never do the same. Because when someone expects you to be predictable, your strength is in becoming unrecognizable, stoic, unbothered, emotionally unavailable to the very chaos that once owned your peace. Let me put it like this: they were the storm, and you were the shelter, but now you're the silence after the storm. And silence, true silence, isn't passive. It's powerful. It's decisive. It says, I no longer react. I no longer beg. I no longer explain why I deserved better. It says, I've learned how to be the ending to the script you thought you were still writing. Let me scold you a little. How many times have you typed the message and deleted it? How many times have you checked their status, hoping for a sign they miss you? How many times have you tried to convince yourself that reaching out one more time would somehow bring you closure? No, that's not closure. That's a relapse. That's you falling back into the trap of trying to prove your worth to someone who made a sport out of ignoring it. You're not here to chase crumbs anymore. You're here to reclaim your dignity, and silence is how you do it. Because when they don't hear from you, not for hours, not for days, not for weeks, they start to panic. Not because they miss you out of love, but because they expected you to be weak, to fold, to run back into the same cycle they controlled. And when you don't, when you stay calm, quiet, and detached, that's when the game flips. That's when they start to question everything they thought they knew about you. So let your silence speak louder than any message ever could. Let your calm be the chaos they can't handle. Let your absence be the evidence that you're not theirs to manipulate anymore. Because silence is not just space, it's strategy. And this time, it's your strategy. Type this in the comments like a contract with your future self. I didn't chase. I chose me. Let the world see it. Let the algorithm feel it. Let them watch it. Because what's coming next? That's when your silence becomes the storm they never prepared for. Stay with me. Number 3. The ego doesn't apologize. It performs. They don't say sorry, they stage a show. The ego doesn't apologize, it performs. It won't send the message you deserve. It won't call to admit, I messed up. I lost someone irreplaceable. Instead, it posts, it flaunts, it brags, it distracts. You don't get an apology. You get a filtered highlight reel, carefully curated to make you feel forgotten. But don't be fooled. That smile you saw, that caption about healing and peace, that story with the fake laugh and a new face in the frame, that's not joy, it's camouflage. Because when someone is genuinely happy, they live. They don't need to prove. But when someone is guilty, broken, ashamed of how they treated you, they perform. This is the part they'll never admit, that they're not posting for the world. They're posting for you. Every vague caption about letting go, moving on, glowing up, those aren't life updates. Those are emotional grenades designed to trigger you, to keep you wondering, to spark jealousy, to reel you back into a cycle where you start questioning yourself again. Do they miss me? Are they already happier without me? But here's the truth they hope you never realize. The wound is deep when the performance is loud. Hey folks, imagine this. Someone punches a hole through a wall and then tapes a poster over it, pretending it never happened. That's what their social media looks like right now. A gallery of distractions slapped over the damage they don't have the courage to face. And while you're over here healing in silence, respecting the space, questioning your own worth, they're putting on a show, hoping you're watching, hoping you still care, hoping your silence is just a phase and not a new identity. But my friends, don't fall for it. This isn't confidence you're seeing. It's cover-up. This isn't peace. It's panic with pretty lighting. When someone loses something real, their pride won't let them grieve it openly. So, they post. They post like everything's fine. They laugh louder, they smile wider, they look happier than ever, not because they are, but because you're watching. Or at least, they hope you are. You were the mirror that showed them their reflection, and when you stopped chasing, they stopped seeing themselves clearly. Now, all they have is a cracked ego and a desperate need to control the narrative. So, they perform. And every performance is a silent scream. Don't think I'm broken without you. Don't think I miss you. Don't think you won. But behind those eyes, behind the ring light, behind the fake captions and attention-seeking selfies, is a ghost. A ghost of someone who knows they lost the realest thing they ever had. Let me call you out for a second. How many times have you stalked their feed, looking for signs? How many times have you seen one post and suddenly doubted everything you knew? Let me tell you what they don't want you to know. They're trying to control you without saying a word. That's what silence and performance do together. They keep you on the hook, silently competing with the version of you they want you to believe they've replaced. But they haven't replaced you. They can't. Because what you gave, that kind of depth, doesn't come with a new comment or a rebound selfie. That connection you offered doesn't get erased with a fake quote about peace. They're not okay. They're obsessed with appearing okay. And there's a difference. So let this wake you up. Stop worshipping a screen. Stop assuming that a photo is proof of peace. Stop giving emotional power to someone who can't even offer a real apology. Your pain is real. Your healing is sacred. Don't let someone's desperate performance distract you from your growth, because you're not the one faking it. They are. You want to win? Don't react. Don't post back. Don't try to outshine them. Just heal, quietly, powerfully, authentically, because nothing destroys a performer more than an audience that walks out. That's how you flip the script. That's how you steal the show without stepping on the stage. So comment this below and let it become your vow. I stopped watching. I started healing. Say it like you mean it. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you're not clapping for a performance built on guilt. You're building peace that doesn't need a spotlight. And stay with me, because what's coming next is the brutal truth of what happens when they stop pretending and start remembering. And the silence becomes their collapse. Number 4. They don't miss you out loud, but they revisit you in private. They don't talk about you because they're still talking to you in their head. They don't miss you out loud. They don't text. They don't call. They don't post sad love songs or admit they regret letting you go. No, they act unbothered, silent, cold. But my friends, don't let the quiet fool you, because while they've erased you publicly, they're replaying you privately. Every memory, every word, every moment where they felt safe in your presence. You're not a chapter they closed. You're the browser tab they never shut down, always running in the background, quiet, but draining everything. That's what they never tell you. That some of the loudest heartbreaks are lived in silence. That the ones who look the most moved on are often the ones most haunted. Because public pretending is easy. It's polished, controlled. They can curate the image they want the world to see, but private pain, that shows up when the lights go off, when the party ends, when no one's around to impress. That's when the truth kicks in. That's when they scroll through your old messages. That's when they hear your laugh in the silence. That's when they miss the version of themselves who felt loved by you. Imagine this, folks. You're a melody that never stops looping in their head. They try to drown it out with noise, new people, distractions, hollow validation. But at night, when it's quiet, there you are. Not because you're still reaching out, but because you stopped. You vanished. And now, the space you left behind echoes with everything they never said and everything they never did when they had the chance. They thought silence would protect them, that if they didn't speak your name, it wouldn't hurt, that if they never brought you up, they could forget. But here's the Stoic truth. Silence doesn't mean peace. It means fear. Fear that if they say your name, the mask might slip. That the lie they've been telling themselves, I'm fine without them, might shatter. So they suppress, they avoid, they bury you under shallow replacements. But what's buried isn't gone, it's festering. And your name, it keeps rising. Let me break the lie for you right now. They do think about you, just not in the way you expected. It's not romantic, it's not poetic, it's uncomfortable, it's inconvenient, because they remember how you stayed when others walked. How you listened when others only spoke. How you saw the sides of them they didn't want to show. But you loved them anyway. And now that you're gone, now that your light isn't on tap, every other connection feels counterfeit, forced, hollow. They don't miss you on Instagram, they miss you in their routines, in the coffee shop you introduce them to, in the songs that still smell like you, in the moments where the new people fail to understand them the way you did without trying. That's the thing, they'll never post that kind of missing, because that kind of missing comes with guilt, and guilt doesn't go viral. So instead, they stay silent, smile for the camera. But behind that screen, they're reliving your presence like it's a ghost they can't shake. Let me ask you something, and be honest with yourself. Why do you still believe that? Because they're quiet, they're over it. Why do you associate silence with strength? They're not silent because they've moved on. They're silent because they're ashamed, because if they open the door, even a little, they know the flood will rush in. Regret, pain, self-loathing. That's the real reason they don't speak. Not power, not indifference, but fear of what will happen if they do. So let me scold you gently. Stop thinking you were forgettable. Stop assuming your love was replaceable just because they never said thank you. Just because they're not talking about you doesn't mean they're not thinking about you constantly. Their pride won't admit it, but your absence is felt in every single quiet moment they can't distract themselves out of. And the best part, you don't need to prove anything. You don't need to text to remind them who you are. You don't need to beg them to remember, because they already do. More than you know, more than they show. And your silence, it's not just power, it's their punishment. So comment this right now if this hit your chest. They remember in silence, I rise in peace. Write it, feel it, let it remind you of the strength in staying gone. Show them, show yourself, show the world around you that healing doesn't scream, it evolves. And stay with me, because next we're digging deeper into the real reason they miss you. And why it was never about you being too much. It was always about them being too empty. Number 5. Your energy was the addiction, not your presence. They didn't love you. They loved how they felt when you loved them. They don't miss you. They miss the feeling, the glow, the energy that surrounded them when you walked in the room. They miss the way they felt seen, even when they were hiding. Understood, even when they weren't speaking. Safe, even while doing nothing to deserve it. They miss the emotional high your presence gave them, without ever being ready to hold the responsibility that came with it. And now that it's gone, they crave the energy, not the you who carried it. That's the brutal part no one tells you, my friends. They didn't stay silent because they were done. They stayed silent because they thought you'd come back and refill them without them ever having to change. Because some people don't see your love as a gift. They see it as fuel. They're not looking for a partner. They're looking for a power source. And when that power source stops shining for them, they panic, but only in private, never where you can see it. Imagine this, someone drinks from a well every day. They don't thank the well, they don't protect it, they don't clean it, they just take. And one day, that well runs dry, not out of anger, but out of exhaustion. And instead of asking why, instead of appreciating what they once had, they walk around looking for another well, forgetting that the one they lost was fed by something far deeper than they ever understood. That was you. You were the steady hand, the voice of reason, the emotional safety net they never earned but always relied on. And now that your energy is gone, now that your presence no longer centers them, they're off balance. But they'll never admit it. because that would mean admitting that you mattered, that you were more than just background noise, that you were the source of a peace they're now trying to fake. Let me break the lie for you. They're not okay. They're not fine. They're not unbothered. They're addicted, and they're going through silent withdrawal, because you were the calm in their storm. You were the stability in their chaos, and no matter who they're with now or what they post, they feel the difference. Their energy is scattered, restless, hollow, because they were never addicted to your body. They were addicted to your essence, your grace, your effort, your light. And now that it's gone, they're cold. Not because you took anything away, but because they never learned how to generate it on their own. And here's the harsh truth. They keep silent now, not because they've healed, but because they're hoping you haven't. They're hoping you're still watching, still checking, still needing to be needed. Because as long as they can keep you questioning, they don't have to face the reality of what they lost. It's not that they don't feel your absence, it's that their ego won't let them say it out loud. So let me ask you, how long are you going to keep thinking their silence means you didn't matter? How long are you going to forget the power of your own presence just because someone else used it like a drug and walked away the moment it required accountability? You were the anchor. You were the healing. You were the soul in a world of shallow. And they couldn't handle that. Don't you dare forget who you were in that connection. Don't you dare let their silence shrink your shine. Because you were never too much. You were just too real for someone still addicted to half-hearted love and low-effort attention. And their silence now. It's not strength. It's symptoms. It's withdrawal. It's panic disguised as peace. And you? You've become the one thing they'll never be able to replicate. So stop wondering if they miss you. They miss what they got from you. They miss how powerful they felt next to your light. They miss how emotionally full they felt while doing the bare minimum. But they don't get to have that again because now your love is no longer on tap. Now your energy is protected. Now you know the difference between someone who wants you and someone who just wants what you give. Type this in the comments if you feel this in your chest. They don't miss me. They miss the power my love gave them. Let it burn. Let it rise. Let it remind you of who you are. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you're not some emotional battery for broken people to drain. You're the light they'll never find again. And stay with me, because next we're revealing exactly why they go quiet when they lose control, and why your silence is the last thing their ego can handle. Number 6. They go quiet when they lose control. Silence isn't power when it's used to hide. Sometimes it's just fear with the volume turned down. They go quiet when they lose control. That's the moment their words run out. That's the moment the performance stops. That's when they realize you're no longer reacting, and without your reactions, they're powerless. Because the truth is, their silence was never strength. It was survival. It was damage control. It was the last trick they had when every other move failed to keep you in orbit. Silence, my friends, isn't always composed. Sometimes it's cowardice wrapped in mystery. Think about it. When a liar runs out of lies, they go mute. Not because they've found peace, but because they know one more word might expose everything. That's what you were to them, a mirror. You reflected what they didn't want to see, their inconsistency, their manipulation, their emotional immaturity. And instead of rising, instead of fixing it, they did the only thing broken people know how to do when truth gets too close. They disappeared. But their disappearance wasn't confidence, it wasn't wisdom, it was panic. You weren't just someone they dated, you were someone who saw them, and nothing terrifies a manipulator more than being seen for what they are. That's why they suddenly needed space. That's why they ghosted. That's why they turned cold. Because if they stayed, they'd have to face the reality they were trying to bury. And you? You held up the mirror too long. You ever wonder why they stopped responding after you finally told the truth? Why they vanished the moment you stopped begging and started asking real questions? It's because they couldn't spin the story anymore. Your calm forced their chaos to stand still, and when the mask cracked, they ran. Not because you were wrong, but because you were right, and they couldn't handle being exposed. So let me scold you a bit. Stop confusing their silence with strength. Stop telling yourself they're being mature or working on themselves. No, if they were growing, they'd communicate. If they were healing, they'd take accountability. This silence, it's not reflection, it's avoidance. It's them hoping you forget what they did, hoping you get tired of needing answers, hoping you go quiet before they have to explain themselves. But not this time. You've already done the chasing. You've already dimmed your truth. Now it's their turn to sit with what they couldn't face. Let them run from the mirror. Let them sit in silence. Because silence doesn't protect them. It exposes them. So type this in the comments now. They went silent when I saw too much. Write it. Own it. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that you were never the problem. You were just the mirror. And stay with me, because what comes next? That's when their regret gets louder than their pride. Number 7, they'll never admit they regret it, but they're living with it. Just because they haven't said, "I regret losing you," doesn't mean they don't feel it every single day. They'll never admit they regret it, but trust me, they do. Not with words, not with apologies, but in the way they scroll through your page without liking anything, in the way they watch your stories like ghosts in the shadows, in the way they laugh louder online but cry quieter at night. Because real regret doesn't always come dressed as "I'm sorry." Sometimes it shows up as silence, as avoidance, as ego wearing a straight face, while the heart screams behind it. People like this don't confess, they perform, they don't apologize, they posture, because to admit they messed up would mean confronting the very thing their pride can't handle, that you were the one who gave more than you received, the one who stayed longer than you should have, the one who saw their brokenness and chose to love them anyway. And now, that love is gone, and they know it, they feel it, but they'll never say it. Let me tell you something no one else will. Silence isn't guilt-free. It's not peace. It's ego-protected grief. It's mourning without maturity. It's sorrow wrapped in pride. They're not okay. They're not over you. They're just emotionally paralyzed, unable to go back, but too proud to reach out. So instead, they sit, they suffer, quietly, alone, and the longer you stay silent, the louder their regret becomes. Think about it. If they truly didn't care, if they had no regret, they'd have nothing to hide, nothing to avoid, nothing to monitor, but they're still watching, still lurking, still hoping you break first, so they don't have to face the shame of being the one who ruined something real. And that shame, it doesn't go away. It festers. Because as the Stoics say, regret that has no outlet becomes obsession in disguise. That's what's happening now. They're not healed, they're haunted. Haunted by the chances they wasted, by the effort they ignored, by the version of you that loved them fully, even when they showed up half-hearted. They know they'll never find that again, not in the next person, not in the next situation, because it wasn't just about love, it was about your love. And that kind of energy doesn't show up twice. So don't wait for closure. Don't beg for confession. Regret doesn't always come with a text. Sometimes it just lingers in the silence between two people who know exactly what they lost, but only one of them had the courage to grow from it. Type this in the comments and lock it into your identity. They won't say it, but I know they regret it. Say it. Own it. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that regret doesn't need a voice to be real. It just needs silence to grow. And stay with me, because next we face the part that terrifies them the most: your complete emotional detachment. Number 8. Your calm is the storm they never survive. They weren't afraid of losing you until they saw how calm you were once they did. You're calm. That's the storm, not the yelling, not the begging, not the over-explaining, the silence, the stillness, the nothing. That's what shakes them, because when someone is used to watching you unravel over them, watching you break first, chase first, care first, your calm becomes the loudest alarm they've ever heard. And now, that silence they once demanded, it's eating them alive, because it's not a pause. It's not you waiting. It's a punishment they handed themselves. They thought you'd come back. They thought your silence was temporary, that your absence was part of a cycle. But what they never prepared for was the version of you that stayed gone. The version that no longer reacts, no longer explains, no longer offers closure to people who brought chaos. That version, that's the one they feared, because it means they've lost control, and when your calm walks into the room, they feel the collapse. Let me say it clearly, my friend. You didn't go cold because you're bitter. You went calm because you've outgrown chaos. You no longer feed the fire. You no longer play the game. And that peace, that's your power. That's your final transformation. That's what makes you unreachable to people who only knew how to take from your storm, never stand in your strength. So here's the truth, my friends. When they stopped calling, it wasn't closure. It was a silent test, but your silence became the answer they never expected. You didn't chase, you didn't break, you transformed. And now their silence is their own storm to survive. If this spoke to your soul, if it reminded you of who you really are, the one they'll never reach again, then do this. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs this reminder. And drop your final affirmation in the comments. My silence became my power. Let it echo everywhere.